Have you ever trusted someone, and later realized your brain was trying to warn you the entire time? The strange part is, you probably saw the signs. You just didn't recognize them yet. Because fake people don't expose themselves with big mistakes. They do it through small behaviors, the kind your brain notices before you do. Have you ever trusted someone, and later realized your brain was trying to warn you the entire time? The strange part is, you probably saw the signs. You just didn't recognize them yet. Because fake people don't expose themselves with big mistakes. They do it through small behaviors, the kind your brain notices before you do. Have you ever met someone who, on the surface, seems perfectly fine, maybe even likable, but something in you just doesn't relax around them? You can't point to anything specific. There's no obvious red flag. They're polite. They smile. They say the right things. And yet, your brain is quietly holding back. Most people assume trust is something that breaks in big, dramatic moments. A lie gets exposed. A promise gets broken. Something undeniable happens. But psychologically, that's not where distrust begins. It begins much earlier. In small, almost invisible patterns. Tiny inconsistencies that your brain registers long before you can explain them. So instead of asking, "Why can't I trust this person?" let's flip the question. What exactly is your brain noticing? Because once you understand that, you start seeing people very differently. Imagine you're having a conversation with someone, and everything you say, they agree with. Not just once or twice. Consistently. Your opinions, your preferences, even your random thoughts. At first, it feels good. Comfortable. Validating. It's like talking to someone who just gets you. But then, something subtle shifts. Because real people don't agree with you all the time. Real personalities have edges. Differences. Small moments of disagreement. When someone constantly aligns with you, perfectly and without friction, it stops feeling like connection, and starts feeling like performance. Your brain notices the lack of resistance. And oddly enough, that absence feels unnatural. There's a psychological reason for this. Humans naturally mirror each other to build rapport. But when that mirroring becomes excessive, it shifts from bonding to impression management. They're not responding to you. They're responding to how they want to be seen. And that difference matters. Now think about this. Have you ever met someone who is incredibly kind, but only when other people are around? In group settings, they're warm, attentive, almost admirable. They compliment others, offer help, and seem emotionally present. But when it's just you and them, something changes. The warmth fades. The energy drops. Conversations feel flatter. It's like watching someone step off a stage. This is what psychologists often describe as impression management. A behavior where someone adjusts their personality depending on who's watching. And your brain is paying attention to something very specific here. Consistency. Trust isn't built on how someone behaves at their best. It's built on how consistently they show up across different situations. When someone feels like two different people depending on the context, your mind starts searching for the real version. And uncertainty is the enemy of trust. Now let's go a layer deeper. Some people talk a lot about themselves. They share stories, experiences, opinions. At first, it feels like openness. But if you really listen, it's all surface level. No vulnerability. No real emotional risk. Just controlled, safe narratives. It's like they're showing you a highlight reel, without ever letting you see behind the scenes. This happens because genuine openness requires exposure. And exposure feels risky. So instead, they stay in safe territory. They give you information, but not authenticity. And your brain can feel that absence. Because human connection isn't just built on words. It's built on emotional resonance. On the subtle feeling that what someone says matches what they actually feel. When that alignment is missing, something feels hollow. Now here's something even more subtle. Have you ever noticed how some people react when something good happens to you? They smile. They congratulate you. They say all the right things. But there's a tiny delay. A slight hesitation. A tone that feels just a little off. It's almost imperceptible, but it's there. This is emotional mismatch. It often happens when someone's internal reaction doesn't align with their external behavior. And one of the biggest drivers of this is comparison. Instead of genuinely feeling happy for you, part of their mind is evaluating what your success means for them. And that creates tension. The words say one thing, the emotion says another. And your brain, incredibly sensitive to these mismatches, picks up on it immediately. You don't need to consciously analyze it. You just feel it. Now let me ask you something. Have you ever met someone who seems almost too perfect socially? They always know what to say, always respond smoothly, always appear confident and composed. At first, it's impressive. But over time, it starts to feel predictable. That's because it is. They're not fully present in the interaction. They're relying on pre-learned responses, social scripts that are designed to create a certain impression. But real interaction isn't scripted. It's messy, slightly awkward at times, unfiltered. So when someone feels overly polished, your brain starts to question the authenticity. Because perfection, in human behavior, often signals control, not connection. Now here's one of the clearest signals. When someone's words don't match their actions. They say they care, but disappear when you need them. They promise, but don't follow through. They present themselves one way, but behave differently over time. This creates something psychologists call cognitive dissonance. Your brain struggles to reconcile two conflicting realities. And when that happens repeatedly, something inside you starts to shift. Trust doesn't collapse all at once. It erodes. Quietly. Gradually. Almost invisibly. Because trust isn't built on statements. It's built on patterns. And patterns reveal what words try to hide. But here's where things get more complex. Not all of these behaviors come from bad intentions. Sometimes they come from protection. From people who learned, at some point, that being fully real wasn't safe. Maybe they were judged, rejected, criticized. So they adapted. They created a version of themselves that would be accepted, liked, approved. And over time, that version became their default. So when you notice these behaviors, it's not always about labeling someone as untrustworthy in a harsh, judgmental way. It's about recognizing the pattern and deciding how close you want to stand to it. Because awareness gives you choice. Instead of asking, why are they like this? You begin asking a more useful question. Can I rely on this person emotionally? And that question changes everything. Because trust isn't about perfection. It's about predictability. It's about knowing that someone will show up in a way that aligns with what they say. And here's the part most people don't talk about. This isn't just about other people. If you're honest with yourself, there have probably been moments where you've done some of these things too. Where you agreed just to avoid conflict. Where you held something back to fit in. Where you adjusted yourself to match expectations. And that doesn't make you fake. It makes you human. We all adapt. We all protect ourselves in different ways. The difference is awareness. Because once you become aware of these patterns, something shifts. You start noticing when you're not being fully real. You start recognizing when others aren't either. And slowly, your priorities change. You begin to value authenticity over approval. Consistency over charm. Depth over surface-level connection. And something else happens too. You stop chasing people who feel confusing. And start appreciating the ones who feel clear. The ones who don't always say the perfect thing. The ones who might disagree with you sometimes. The ones who show up, not just when it's easy, but when it matters. Because real people aren't always smooth. But they are reliable. And in a world where so much is performance, reliability becomes something rare. Something valuable. So the next time you feel that quiet discomfort around someone, don't rush to dismiss it. That's not you overthinking. That's your brain recognizing a pattern. A pattern it's seen before. A pattern it's trying to protect you from. And maybe, instead of ignoring it, you listen. Because sometimes, the smallest signals carry the most truth. And once you start seeing them, you'll never look at people the same way again. If this made you reflect on someone, or even on yourself, take a moment and sit with that. Because awareness like this doesn't just change how you see others. It changes how you show up too. And that's where real growth begins. If you found this helpful, you can stick around for more. There's a lot more your mind is noticing that we don't usually talk about. Follow for more interesting videos.